the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz here on a Wednesday morning. We are glad that you have joined us wherever and whenever it is that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Randy here on a Wednesday morning, and as we do every single day, it seems like we had a lot to talk about and a lot to dive into. You know, you would think going into a game against a D2 opponent, it would be like, hey, we're just going to prep and do what we got to do. And, hey, this is a 9-1 Mercer team. And then you've got quarterback topic on the top of the table here that we're going to talk about. I was at practice yesterday. Then you still got this coaching search. And it seems like there's all types of different things that come up each and every day. I've got my thoughts on that and some things that I heard yesterday that we'll dive into, but good to see you this morning.
Well, glad to be here. And, I'll start with the comments that Coach Durkin's made toward the quarterback situation, Brett. And I think he's handled it extremely well. You know, he hasn't necessarily thrown Jackson Arnold under the bus at all. It's all positive talk with him, wanting to put him in a good position to be successful out there on the field. You know, I appreciate that he says, you know, he's still a young guy with a lot of football left in his career. And he's had some down moments at Oklahoma and at Auburn. But to handle it that way is exactly right. Now, how many players like Joe Burrow have we seen where they've been, you know, mediocre to slightly above average, and then all of a sudden they end up in a perfect situation and they're a Heisman Trophy winner and a national champion? I mean, it happens. Is that going to happen for Jackson Arnold? I don't know, but I appreciate that our coach is saying that. I've been begging for Deuce Knight since the start of the season. There's a few of you that tune into this program. We appreciate you, but you blasted me for doing that at the beginning of the season. But my point was this. If Auburn was the only team in the country that's willing to throw a freshman quarterback out there and give them a chance, then that would be one thing. But there's a lot of programs out there that were in build mode like Auburn that go out and get one of the top recruits in program history at the quarterback position. And you've got to decide really quick whether he's your guy or not. I mean, we can go back to last year, Brett. I'm tired of talking about players for an entire year like we talked about Walker White. And then the next thing you know, he's gone. And we watch him in 7-on-7s at Auburn University, and you know,
he ain't played a lick either.
Well, but my point though is, Brett, that's fine if he doesn't play a lick, but you've got to decide really quick whether he's your guy or not, or he's gone. So, don't waste time and money if that's not the direction you're planning on going.
I don't think it would have mattered with Hugh Freeze. That's the hindsight view of this thing. If you'd have put Deuce Knight out there, everybody would have said, "My God, he's terrible." And then you put Jackson Arnold out there, he was terrible. You put Ashton Daniels out there against Kentucky, he was terrible. Then you flip the page and you get a new guy in there and he throws for an ungodly amount. My point is on the hindsight thing, I think it would have done more damage. That it actually could probably be a silver lining that he didn't start Deuce Knight or Deuce Knight didn't get in. Like, people are talking about all this. Are we going to keep Deuce Knight and all that? Look, time will tell. Okay, like, there's a lot of things that have got to go down to determine if Deuce Knight or anybody else stays on this roster, and that's going to be the role of whoever the coach is to re-recruit this roster. This is a very talented roster. You hear all these other coaches talk about it. There's a lot of coaches that would love to come in and coach this football team if you can keep them together. My point on that is that it actually may save Deuce Knight in the end by him not playing, and because he wasn't going to learn or get any better under Hugh Freeze, because obviously anybody that's played under Hugh Freeze has gotten worse. Peyton Thorne, for whatever you want to say, and all the criticism we gave him, when he left Michigan State, he had pretty good numbers. You know, and he comes to Auburn, and it just all of a sudden he can't play quarterback anymore. And I know Jackson Arnold had his struggles, and that's why I'm willing to give Jackson Arnold a little bit of a pass too, is because Ashton Daniels has come in and given Auburn a breath of fresh air, and he looks more poised in the pocket, looks more, quick on decision making. But Jackson Arnold, he had to to be under the tutelage of Hugh Freeze.
Well, here's my point. I hear your point. Here's my point. We got a great opportunity right here to see Deuce Knight play.
Yeah, of course,
he's not just going to sit over there all year, Brett, and you come and get on air like you did before the season and talk about his arm talent. And it's not just you; it's everyone that was at those practices before the season said, "Oh my, this guy's special. Can't wait to see him out there playing for us."
Played the entire spring game because Jackson Arnold was hurt. A lot of people forget that.
So I think the point that you bring up, that probably the timing for him is good, but the timing for us Auburn fans to see if he's the answer for next year and the years to come, it's a great opportunity here. And if Mercer wouldn't be that game that kills that red shirt for Ashton, we probably wouldn't see him. So
Right.
Look, you count me in on someone that's interested. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I think he's got a pep in his step. You're not the only one that I've heard say that. Seems like he's got a newfound rejuvenation at practice and getting prepared for that. I think he's got positive coaches that are saying the right things about him. And I think the decision to redshirt Ashton is 1,000% the right decision, because he's a good fit for a Derek Nix or any type of tempo offense like that. And I'm glad we're going to get a chance to get him back at Auburn next year. But I'm also really happy that we get a chance to see Deuce Knight.
Going to see him to what extent you'll see him, we don't know. We'll all have to wait and see. I think he'll start in the hurry up, no huddle period of that we all get to see when we're allowed into practice. He went with the ones and Jackson went with the twos. Now in individual drills yesterday, it was Jackson going first and Deuce going second. So that may have been a little strategy by Durkin and some of the other coaches to kind of go, okay, y'all saw him in that one. But most of the time this year when we've seen the guy go out there with the ones in Tiger ball, which is period 5, it's the guy that gets the start. So, yeah, you're going to see Jackson Arnold play as well. And, again, I do think that whoever you start, if it's Deuce Knight, and I think it will be, give him this game. Like, know that Jackson Arnold's there, but let him, don't be quick with the trigger. Don't have this set where you're going to get 2 possessions and then Jackson Arnold's get 2 possessions. Like, go out there and see what he can do with a full game plan and see how he reacts. Get a good sample of what Deuce Knight can do in real competition. And this is not a shabby Mercer team. Like, this is not a team like, I'm sorry, but Alabama A&M or some of the or UMass or somebody like that have struggled. This is a 9-1 team that has scored a lot of points that, I think is a formidable opponent for a guy that's going to be coming into his first start, and that's a lot to be said. So can you see him for 3 full quarters, and can Auburn be up enough to where you go, man, that looked great. He came out here and threw for 250 yards and had a couple touchdowns or whatever you want to say. And, ran the ball for 50 yards and, then you let him exit and let Jackson Arnold finish the game. I don't know. That would be my scenario there if things worked out. Now, if he gets in there and struggling and it looks like things are not going the way they need to go, then, of course, you probably go to Jackson Arnold a little bit sooner than that. But I just like to see him get going in, not looking over his shoulder, going, hey, it's your game. We're depending on you. This is your time.
Well, from what I've seen from him, his ability to run out of the pocket and improvise and buy himself time is the separator for me. I think he throws a beautiful deep ball too, Brett. And we got the guys on the perimeter that need someone that throws a catchable deep ball. You and I get to watch one on Friday night, which, by the way, he'll be one of the top recruits in the entire state in a couple of years in Kingston Prier. And the thing that separates him every Friday is his ability to throw a catchable deep ball, Brett. It doesn't do you any good to have burners if you're overthrowing them or underthrowing or things just seem to be a little bit off.
Timing, yep.
And I think that Deuce has proven in the past, and I know that it's high school, that he has that potential. But, watching him in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game last year, it wasn't necessarily the passing game that impressed me the most. It was his ability to make plays when everything's broken down and his ability to run. And I bring that up, and you have nothing to lose here. I mean, Ashton's going to be back to start that Alabama game unless Deuce just
No,
burns
he
up the
will be
field.
starting that. Yeah,
That's
he'll be
my
starting
point.
that.
So there is nothing to lose. It's not like you're having to hold him back against Mercer and not run the football when those opportunities present themselves. I think you'll see the full version of him. And for me, the full version of Deuce Knight's ceiling is higher than the other two. I've been saying that from day one. Whether that plays its way out in the college games, not my job to get that guy to his top level. But I think anybody that would watch him says the ceiling is exceptionally high for him, and we've got to develop him, and that's been a problem at Auburn for a long time.
Well, you don't have the one that was in place that was struggling to develop anybody anymore. So that again, I think the silver lining in all of this, and we're going to move on to the coaching search here, is that maybe Deuce Knight didn't play early. I mean, at the time, you felt like, okay, well, why not? Why are we not seeing him? But maybe now you go, well, that worked out for the better, and then you get a coach in here and he gets rejuvenated and he has some momentum going into spring, and there's a lot of different things and ways to look at it. So a lot of times in the moment we think things are terrible. It may work out better in the end. All right, let's talk about this coaching search. Obviously, the names that keep recycling are the names that keep recycling. And, when you look at it, one thing that stands out to me is when you look at John Summerall or you look at DJ Durkin, if those happen to be right there at the top, and there's a lot of discussion about DJ Durkin and his role in this program moving forward, regardless if he's the head coach or not. You go back to the same deal. Who has had success winning on the highest level in college? Like the candidate pool, there's not a lot of, like, the thing I hear everybody saying all the time everywhere is that there's just not a definitive guy out there. Like, I'll be fine with this guy or be fine with this guy. The only one that keeps getting brought up is Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin holds the cards for everybody right now, including Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is sitting there. They see all this and hear all this. How much pressure are they putting on him to say, okay, Lane, tell us what you're going to do? Because if you fly out of here right after the end of the playoffs or whenever that last game is, and you go to LSU or you go to Florida or you go to the New York Giants, now we're stuck here. Who are we going to go hire? And so you're hearing things more about John Summerall in the talks there, because where people want to like, where they want to like it or not. And I know Summerall's a top candidate for Auburn. If that Ole Miss job comes open, they're going to be in panic mode, and they're going to come after. He's going to be one of the top ones they come after. So if you're looking at him, and that's why I said timing is everything on the title this morning, because timing for Auburn, you went ahead and made your decision a few weeks ago, which I thought was a positive. Now, and I think John Cohen has been in rapid pace trying to get things in place. He's been interviewing the hell out of people and getting things, talking to agents and stuff. But you better understand that when a couple more of these jobs come open, now it's a more of an open competition. So if it is John Summerall, have you done everything that you need to do to go ahead and make sure he's in place? Because there's going to be some other pieces. It's not like, that's the thing about a coaching cycle. Like, when somebody leaves another program, now that job's open. Now they're out there digging around. Like, this thing just keeps going until you either promote from within or you go out and steal somebody else's coach.
Well, none of them really wow me. I'm not saying that I can't buy into a storyline for each and every one. I'll start with John Summerall. I don't know much about him. He's been successful. When you put a mic in front of him, man, I'm buying what he's selling. But hell, I bought what Brian Harsin was selling when you put a mic in front of him. I'll never forget him running those bleachers and running up and down in front of the stadium, and everybody was working hard, and he's out there buff and ready to go, and he's preaching downhill running football. And I'm going back to these coaches that you and I and everybody that is associated with Auburn fan base has bought into in the past. And I got a real good friend of mine that wanted to know your take on it yesterday, sent me a text. And he's a big Summerall supporter. And I said, I'm for it. But if you'd have told me a couple of years ago that Auburn was getting Billy Napier, hell, I'd have been for that too. Because the
He was a
same
top
pick,
candidate for
the
sure.
same feel, the Tom Hermans of the world and Herman was actually coming from a little bit step up, I would say, at Houston.
Right.
But for the most part, I'm saying that this is a drastic jump from where you've been.
Oh, no doubt.
Can it work? Yes, it works a lot of times. I'm not like, you just got to hope and pray.
But he does not have much experience at the Power
No.
4 level.
It's Billy Napier. I mean, it's the exact example that I give. Is he Billy Napier? No, he's a totally different person. Does he end up at Auburn or Ole Miss and has extreme success like Pat Dye did, coming from East Carolina? Absolutely could, and I'm hoping and praying. But I think we're all sitting here as Auburn fans going, John Cohen, get this right. Like, everything is weighing on your decision to make this decision right, and none of them. I'm not passionate about any of them. Because one, I like DJ Durkin. So if you told me DJ Durkin and Derek Nix stayed in the place that they're in, I like both of them personally. I can get behind that. If you tell me John Summerall, who's an up and coming guy that is really passionate and preaches physical football, which to me feels like Auburn football, I can get behind that. If I've got to get into Drinkwitz, who has done an amazing job at Missouri, and DJ Durkin stays on as the defensive coordinator. And I think those three options are the main three that I hear. Now, maybe there's some others that come up later. I think those three are the main ones.
That and then Kenny Dillingham's still out there. And, Kenny Dillingham, from a standpoint of he has gone to a place that doesn't win a lot and has taken that team to a place. If you're wanting to compare – and you're wanting to say, what does he bring to the table? Well, he's already proven it. Before the Rhett Lashley thing and I don't hear his name much anymore, but the Rhett Lashley thing at SMU, I mean, say what you want to about him. He has also proven that he's taken a team to the playoff. And, the other name that you brought up just a minute ago, I was going to get to is Eli Drinkwitz. And Eli Drinkwitz, I've seen all the stats, and his record against winning teams in the SEC is whatever, 0-15 and all that good stuff. I hear all that. But he's like one of the top winningest coaches in the SEC in the last 3 or 4 years. And he's done it at Missouri, where we all know that if you had to rank programs top to bottom, at one of the ones that you would think would be the hardest to bring players into, one would be Missouri. That would be one of the ones at the very bottom. But he's gone to a place where football was not king and was on the outside looking in and has made them very successful. So what could he do with more at his disposal? That's the thing. Maybe he's got Missouri to all they can get.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't understand. You're like, well, he ain't won. Like, well, nobody at Auburn's won, period. Like, so don't criticize a man that's won majority of his games and has had tough times beating teams that have better rosters than him and are ranked higher than him at a school like Missouri. Don't point a finger at that guy when nobody at Auburn the last 3 or 4 years has been able to do squat. So that's kind of my argument there. Now, I've told everybody from day one, I'm not advocating for or against anybody.
Agree.
That we're just throwing it all out on the table. But I just think that Summerall and Eli Drinkwitz have navigated their way to the top of this list. And John Cohen, his quote yesterday was this: no matter what happens, we want DJ Durkin part of Auburn football. And I had somebody tell me yesterday that DJ Durkin's wife, this came from a very reliable source, that DJ Durkin's wife said, we ain't leaving Auburn. So, I don't know what that means. They are building a house in Auburn. They obviously love the community, and DJ Durkin's young when it comes to coaches, and he's got a lot of coaching life left ahead of him. Is that a thing that you want to do for a coach? Like, obviously, if you were going out to try to find a defensive coordinator, if you're coming in as a head coach, unless you are just so tied to the guy that you're with in your current position, why wouldn't you give DJ Durkin the opportunity to continue to lead this defense? And especially if it's an offensive-minded coach. If it's an offensive-minded coach coming in and you're not going to have a clash of philosophies and mindsets, then it's set up that way. Now, the word is John Summerall has said, I'm not opposed to it, but I can't make any promises. So, there's a weighing here of what are you asking out of your next head coach, and what are you going to – a lot of coaches want autonomy. Like, if you want to keep DJ Durkin, they want it to be their decision. They don't want to be told, hey, you need to keep this guy. And I get that too, So, and then the other part of this is roster management. You keep DJ Durkin. He's got a lot of great relationships with existing players, both sides of the football now, not just on the defensive side, but on the offensive side too. You got to think about that if you're a new coach coming in. If DJ Durkin's not the head guy and you're trying to retain things, he's a key to that. I think he's a big key to being able to retain a lot of this roster.
Well, I think when you're hiring a coach, you've got to know all the background information on them. And I've shared some of this, so I'll share it again on DJ Durkin. The Auburn community really appreciates him, and I think he appreciates the Auburn community. And Brett, living over there, man, there is just exceptionally good education system. He's got a kid that's got 5 more years of high school. He's in the middle school right now. I'm around him with programs that our kids are mutually involved in, and he's a wonderful kid. And I'm not just talking about him, but I'm bringing up family situations, and it's the same. You and I are AHSA guys too, so we cover high school sports. It's the same when you go out there and you hire a high school guy. It's like, okay, how old is this kid? All right, he's going into the 7th grade. What does that tell you, Brett, if you bring Danny Horn in and his kid's going into the 7th grade?
Well, he wants to establish some consistency and wants to be there.
If he chose to bring his kid over in the 7th grade, I think he wants him to finish there.
Well, that's
you can count on that probably not being a one and done deal. You're going to have him for 5 or 6 years. And I bring that up about DJ Durkin. I mean, he's got a young family, and that family loves Auburn. And what's not to love about Auburn? I mean, the education system I just mentioned, the growth, the community, the family atmosphere around Auburn. It's all the reasons you and I love Auburn. It's the reason that we grow up with our family loving Auburn. And when you come here, you don't want to go. It's the reason so many coaches, when they retire, end up at Lake Martin or in Auburn, Brett, and want to live in this area.
Pretty good area.
It's a pretty darn good area. It's both. And we kind of go hand in hand because they end up with a place to lake, and they end up living. And if they have kids or something, going through that Auburn system over there. So I can appreciate that. I understand the decisions that are probably being made there, but I also understand where John Summerall stands. So luckily you and I don't have to make that decision. It is a very difficult decision to make, but I at least think that the way that DJ Durkin looked against Vandy, the way that Derek Nix looked against Vandy, makes it palatable whatever decisions made.
Yeah,
like if we'd have gone out there and Diego Pavia beats us 41-14, and we look terrible on offense, and we can't figure out a way to stop him on defense, you're not having this discussion.
Right.
So
well, and again, I'm going to go back to this coming up in 2 weeks. It's a very winnable Iron Bowl. I think Alabama's a 6.5-point favorite, and Alabama offensively isn't the best. They struggle running the football. I think they're 14th out of 16th in the conference and running the ball, which is mind-blowing to me that you have an Alabama football team you can't run the ball, that you can't. So it puts a lot of pressure on Ty Simpson, and Ty Simpson's done well, but he's also made some mistakes, especially teams. They've been able to win a couple of games, but when you put pressure on him, he's made some mistakes. And so Auburn's got a really good defense, and Auburn, again, will have a really good chance, I think, at winning that game in a couple of weeks. You cannot get so emotionally invested that in that one football game, that if DJ Durkin were to lead, now again, things do change mindset-wise, but if you make a decision to hire DJ Durkin, it doesn't need to be because he beat Alabama. It needs to be because he was the guy that you felt like was the guy that could lead this program all along. And in looking at not just 3 games here at the end of the season, but what he brings for the future and his philosophy and what his buy-in, the 3, 4, 5 years down the road, like you're talking about, Randy. We've seen teams. We saw Ole Miss hire Matt Luke after beating Mississippi State. Didn't work out. Like, these emotional hires don't work a lot of times because they just happen to be thrust into the position. They did what they were supposed to do. And you go, oh, God, we got to hire him. And then it becomes Oh, God, why did we hire him? Oh, he beat Alabama last year. Oh, that's why we hired him. My point is that, yes, that would be a huge feather in his cap, but it also doesn't need to be the only thing if he were to win. And on the flip side, if he were to lose the game, it's not his. Again, I told you this from day one when he took this over. If he went 0-3, that shouldn't be a determining factor on whether hiring DJ Durkin or if he went 3-0. I mean, it needs to be a lot more than just the surface and what he's been handed at the end of the season. So, yes, Tubbs says you can just feel like we're about to make the most average hire. What is an average hire, Tubbs? I mean, are you saying it's Lane Kiffin or bust or Dan Lanning or somebody like that with a big, massive name out there, and anything below that is just an average hire? Because I hate to say it, that's what's out there and what's available.
Well,
I don't really know what else to say on that.
Look, I agree with him. I mean, but am I negative about that? No, I think it's the option that you have. But I want to spin this in I want you to answer this, Brett. Let's put you in the AD's role. Okay, you brought up the other two names, and you've got DJ Durkin to choose from.
Right.
He wins easily against Mercer, and he plays well, and we win the game late against Alabama. Are you dead set that the other two options are better than Durkin?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
I mean, he's
that's
definitely a viable option.
Decision is. I mean,
yeah,
like,
it's a viable option. I'm just saying what Tubbs is saying. I don't know, like, is he classifying DJ Durkin and John Summerall and Eli Drinkwitz all as average hires? That's what you're going to be picking from. And I see what you're saying. I think, there's a lot of people that wanted to go get John Gruden because of the name. There's a lot of people that thought, well, you went after Lane 3 years ago. Why can't you go try him again? Well, he was very close to getting the job. I'm with you. I understand all that. I get all that. And I'm not saying that some of that option isn't completely off the table. Look, we've seen things come out of left field. Okay. Yeah. And I've stood by this. John Summerall seemed to have been the name right out of the gate. And a lot of times you got to be leery of that because most of the time that don't end up being your guy. But it doesn't feel that way this time. It feels like that he has had the inside track on that, and it's been a guy that Auburn targeted early. And, for whatever reason, whether you agree or not, they feel like he'd be the guy that would be the best fit, moving forward. But those are the names. That's the names that you're dealing with. And there's a really good chance it's going to be one of those three. And it could be two of those if Durkin stays on as the defensive coordinator for either one of those guys. So, again, and so the percentage of Kenny Dillingham is going down in my book, but he's still out there, okay? He's still kind of hovering around. So there's some – obviously the James Franklin thing's over. He's going to Virginia Tech, and I know a lot of you out there are glad of that. And, I'll be honest, now that he's moved on, that wouldn't lighten me on fire either about James Franklin. I mean, he's been successful and all, but obviously kind of goes back to our beginning conversation. There's none of these out here that just go, ooh. And even Lane Kiffin. I mean, Lane Kiffin, he's got Ole Miss in a position that they've never been in before. What can he do, though? He's got a good football team. Can he get in the playoffs and actually make some noise and finish this thing? So that'll be interesting to see. All right, let's talk about some of our partners here. On the program, we can't do the show without them. Sensagreen, for air that's cool and clean, call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama and proud supporters of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz podcast. They save you thousands of dollars on new installations, and right now they got great deals going on right up until Thanksgiving, which is next week, which is crazy, by the way. I cannot believe it's Thanksgiving already, but they'll save you money on your power bill when you install one of these new units. They're going to save you money because it's going to be very efficient. So make sure you call them Sensagreen for your next heating and air unit. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama, and they work with all types of institutions, whether it be municipalities, boards of education, whatever. Just talked to Charles yesterday. He was there doing a presentation on Alexander City and the new high school, and they have been the lead in this project from day one, almost 2.5 years ago, and it's remarkable. I mean, this project and holding the contractors and the the subcontractors accountable for what they're doing. That's why you hire a program management company like Scout, and they are the best in the business. So if you got a multi-million-dollar project that you're planning and you have coming up, you need to call on Scout Program Management. You'll be glad that you did it. Bunkers in downtown Auburn, all the great things, but one of the best things is you don't have to worry about figuring out where you're going to park. They got 50 parking spots right there in the parking deck. So you pull right in, walk right in. They got the 2 bars. They got the open seating now. They got the live entertainment going on. They got the golf simulator bay still for all of you out there. So, man, it is just such a happening place, and we're so glad to be part of Bunkers. They got the perfect mix of everything: sports, music, food, and fun. Downtown Auburn, check them out there on Glen. And then the Cart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore right there in Davil. As you're coming down 280, they have Easy Go Cushman Yamaha Club Car. They service everything. They have lease programs. They'll sell you one outright. And if you're somehow so picky that you go on their lot and you can't find something you like, they'll order it for you. They'll custom make it for you. So go check them out. The Cart Source right there. Go see my guy Harrison there. He will hook you up. Christmas is right around the corner. I'm telling you, what a great Christmas gift, man. Hey, I'll take one. If somebody's willing to go to the Cart Source and they go, hey, man, we appreciate Brett so much and what he does every day, we're going to buy him a golf cart. Yeah, I'll be waiting for that. But no, go check out the Golf Cart Superstore there, the Cart Source. All right. It's not saying those 3 or 4 names is a bad hire. It seems like a lazy hire. And here's why. Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Brady, a couple other pro OCs could be open to get back in college, and has Cohen looked under every rock? This hire is crucial. It's a good point, Ed. I don't know how deep his list has been. You know, on the flip side of that, you always have that list in your desk for these days. Randy, you don't know when that day is going to come open. You know, a lot of people go, here's your top 3, and you're going hard after those guys, and then you hope you get one of those guys because they were a priority to you for whatever reason. And if you get past those 3, then it's like, oh, crap, now who are we looking at? But, Ed, I'm with you. I mean, what was his scope of going out and looking for a head coach? Again, we feel like, and a lot of us that do this on a daily basis feel like we have a bead on the top names, but could somebody come out of left field? Absolutely. I mean, it could. I mean, he met with some boosters and donors, I think, the day before yesterday. And, you know, I know he said that he's the committee, and I think he ultimately will make the decision, but he is getting input from other people. And it wasn't like he didn't say he wasn't going to get input from other people. I mean, he's not a dictator over here and just saying, hey, this is – but ultimately the responsibility is on his back.
We got to hope and pray that he makes the right decision because – look, his legacy as an athletic director at Auburn is going to weigh heavily on this decision he makes right here. And so it's his job, not mine and yours, not the boosters' job. I appreciate that he's putting all the pressure on himself. He's not putting a search committee together and giving a lot of the benefit to them for making the decision. No, he's saying, look, I'm making the decision, and I can appreciate that. And, you know, you reach out and you get opinions from people that matter to you. But at the end of the day, you live and die by the decisions that you make there. And it's unfortunate that football carries that much weight. But with him and this decision and it being his second one, if he doesn't get this one right, then his tenure is going to be a bust.
Yep.
No, and look, I think we've got a lot of programs on the up and coming in Auburn. And it's not just on the men's side. I think on the women's side, I'm hopeful that he's about to get this basketball program to a level that we can all be proud of.
Off to a pretty good start.
And you look what the track program, and I can bring up some peripheral programs that are really successful at Auburn right now under John Cohen's tenure. But at the end of the day, everything's fed by this football program, and it hasn't been to the level that us Auburn fans deserve for it to be. I'll put it that way. And so hopefully he makes the right decision. You got to put all your trust in that. And if you like John Cohen, then I think you trust him to make that right decision. If you don't, well, if he doesn't here, then you'll have your wants there also, because he won't be around much longer if he messes this one up.
No, he won't. All right. Before we leave this morning, some basketball news. Faith and I will be at the game tonight covering that game. So we'll hear from Coach Pearl after But the news going in is you're not going to have Keyshawn Hall against Jackson State, who finished runner-up in their conference last year. I think they had a 14-2 record or 14-4 record. And, they're predicted to finish behind Bethune-Cookman in second in the SWAC. And Bethune-Cookman, we all know what they just did when they came to Auburn a few weeks ago. So you're not going to have your best player. I mean, Keyshawn Hall by far is every night's a 20-plus point guy, multiple rebounds. Going to find a way to – now you don't have him tonight. I know it's a lesser-than opponent, but we've played some lesser-than opponents with him, and he had good nights and took overtime to win it. So, here's another test as you go into this basketball game tonight if you're Auburn and you look at, hey, you're supposed to win. This is another one. I think we were supposed to beat Bethune-Cookman by 26. We're supposed to beat Jackson State by almost 30, 29.5. Jackson State ain't won a basketball game too, by the way, just to kind of get that out there. Can Auburn roll the ball out there with who they have and still go win by 20-plus? They should. But you're not going to have Keyshawn Hall out there tonight. And there's no timetable because it's a lateral sprain of the ankle and the foot. And, they're going to work to get him back as soon as possible. They got some big games coming up, obviously, with the tournament out in Las Vegas. And you want to have him back for that because you're going to absolutely need him against those type teams, Michigan, Oregon, those teams. But Jackson State, let's see what this team's made of without the cog in the wheel, Randy, because you and I have talked about this multiple times. Thank God Keyshawn Hall came back and didn't get in the portal when there was a coaching change, because without him, I don't know where the point production would be coming from.
No, I agree. He's special. His ability to get to the free throw lines, a separator, ability to step up and make all of them. I mean, 90+% from that free throw line when he gets there is a separator. And also his ability to rebound the basketball for a team that needs a rebounding presence inside is a separator. So there's three big components that Auburn's going to have to replace. Do we have the pieces to replace it? Yes, I think so. And I'll say that, and then I want to go back real quick to what we saw on Sunday. But one, will we see a little bit more of a 2-point guard system tonight? I'd like to see a little more Magwood and Pettiford.
I think you probably will. Yep.
I think Magwood is a big-time scorer. I know he's a big-time shooter. The two of them on the court together, I know the reason we go big, because teams now, if you aren't long, if you're not big, which Auburn doesn't really have the inside presence that we had last year, that you don't necessarily want to go in that direction. But tonight may be a good excuse for us to see how the two of them play together, Brett. And Magwood struggled getting minutes when we've had these tight basketball games. And I don't think Tahad's going to play mediocre long. You can just sense he's about to get his offensive game going.
And he needs to tonight. Like tonight would be a prime opportunity for him to do that.
Well, and so maybe Magwood out there on the court to take a little bit of the ball handling responsibilities away so you can get him going offensively. Shooting the ball may be good. So all of these things are positives for Auburn, but I did want to go back to Sunday, man. I was proud of the way we played. I was proud of the way that we rebounded the basketball, Brett. I thought that was the key going in.
Not even with Houston. So
can you match their aggressive play? I think they've got a top 3 coach in the country. I love what he preaches. I love the style of basketball that Houston plays. Even when you lose some key offensive players, when you play that style of basketball, you're going to be good every year, and Houston is. And I just think we matched them all the way around. I think we knocked down some shots. We win that game going away. If we don't miss,
you hit your free throws, you win the game.
You hit your free throws, you win that game. But the thing I also loved was Stephen Pearl's comments after the game. I'm dead set all for those comments, is that I don't look at this team and when we lose by a point to Houston go, man, I'm proud of this. No, I mean, we expect to win basketball games and we expect to compete for championships at Auburn.
No matter who the opponent is.
No matter who it is. And I thought that is the right answer to give, especially in a season after we've had to stomach a whole lot of excuses coming out of Hugh Freeze's mouth. And I don't think that that's a shot at Hugh Freeze. I just think that's who Stephen Pearl is. I think he's a highly competitive person. Does he have his dad's personality? No, but hell, nobody does. I mean, good luck finding another Bruce Pearl. But what I do think, I think he is a true basketball guy that understands the defensive end of the basketball court really well, knows how to get his guys to compete for him. And all signs point to positivity going forward with Stephen Pearl. He's not his dad, but embrace who he is. And who he is those comments after the game the other night. Like, I'm not going to be happy with that group that I think
moral victories are for losers. That's where
for
you
losing.
only
So
where you need
I
to
took a
stop.
lot away from that, and the non-quit that we had even when Keyshawn Hall went down those last 4 minutes, Brett, the way that some of our other guys stepped up and made plays to give us a chance to win it. And Tahad makes that shot, man, we win the basketball game.
That's it.
And that's, without Keyshawn in there, that's who you want. You want Tahad, who you hope is an all-SEC performer.
Hey, look, they made a play. I mean,
sure.
Coach Pearl said, hey, look, we drew it up and executed it just like we wanted to do it. And they just came over with backside help and blocked the shot. And look, that's what good teams are going to do. So they're well.
It could have been questionable. It could have been a foul call. I thought it was a 50-50 on that. I did think he got the left arm, but I'm an Auburn fan. I'm going to think that. But more importantly, 5 games into the season to start a Stephen Pearl tenure is, do you have the ability to go out there and run a play that you drew up in a key moment of the game that is a win or lose play? And we did, man. It was a really good positive game. I think we need to build on it. And tonight, getting a couple of these guys that haven't gotten the minutes that I think we expect them to get as the season moves on, namely Magwood, will be fun to watch.
Yeah, I totally agree. A couple more partners here on the program. We couldn't do it without them. Again, we appreciate all of them so very much. Russell Medical Center, voted one of the top 3 best hospitals in the state of Alabama, and they are partnered with UAB Health System. And UAB Health System is one of the top in the world. And again, I'll say that till I'm not here any longer. They are just the best, and I can personally attest to that with things that we've had in our family. So Russell Medical Center in Alexander City. If you don't want to fight big time city traffic and the hassle of going there, you got great medical facilities and doctors right here. And if they don't have what you need, they're going to get you to the right people. And so there's a lot to be said for that. So make sure you check out Russell Medical Center right there on Highway 280 in Alexander City, providing the outstanding healthcare that they've done for years here in a smaller community. So check them out in Alexander City. And Oliver Ross, I can't say enough about Mark and his group. They are professionals top to bottom, a fully licensed and trained bartending service that will come to your party, function, convention, set up, serve, break down, leave, and you will be the star of your party or function, because everybody's going to be going, who is that doing all that and hiring and fixing all the drinks and just how professional they were. It's Oliver Ross. So all these parties coming up, the things that you got coming up over the holidays, you need to contact Oliver Ross. Check them out on Instagram, on Facebook. You'll see why. And I've been to many functions where they've served, and they're top notch. So make sure you check them out there. All right. Anything else before we roll out of here this morning?
No, it's 3 great topics. We've talked a lot about the football search. I think we left it with John Cohen. Auburn fans hope and pray makes the right decision, because I don't think there's a dead set a dead set decision that all of us will get behind right now, but at least we got options, and DJ Durkin being one of those options that it feels to me a lot of Auburn fans are happy with, and proud of the basketball team, Brett, and look forward to seeing the quarterback play on Saturday. Deuce Knight getting an opportunity to play before he exits stage left. None of us want to see him go, but at least we'll get our opportunity, if he were to go, to see him out there on the field and see what he can do, and give himself a chance to say, look, I'm the guy. This is the reason you go out and get a big-time guy like me, and he's got that chance on Saturday.
He definitely has his opportunity for sure. Reminder today, Faith and I will be at Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine, again, almost near the most favorite place for us on earth. That place is awesome. We'll be sampling the Outlive Burger. Bruce Pearl and his wife, they came up with this a few weeks ago. 20% of the what you pay for that burger and that meal goes directly to Outlive. So that's going on, and it's I can't wait because I've got several people telling me how great that burger is with the tiger sauce on it. So I can't wait to see what that is. So we'll be out at Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine today at noon for the show. So we're excited about that. If you're in the area, come check it out. Come hang out with us. Come see us. We'd love to hear from you out there. And again, we appreciate Pepper Tree for all they do for our programming. They are our post-game sponsor each and every week after the football. And I do want to announce they are going to extend that through basketball. So we're going to be doing, of course, we won't be on every basketball game, but there will be, especially when we get into SEC play, we'll be doing a lot more of that. So yeah, looking forward to that, but appreciate Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine and all of our partners out there on the program. So, all right, come see us at noon or tune us in if you can't make it out there. All right, everybody, have the best day ever. Do something good for somebody. Be a shining light to somebody. There's so much negative in the world. Just be a positive. Be somebody that smiles and make somebody else smile out there. And we will see you tomorrow for more Auburn Blitz.